In this video, we are going to be showing our Minecraft representation of gentrification. We will first examine what our town looked like before gentrification. As we can see, we immediately notice that there is an older vibe to the town. The houses look like they've been built a while ago, and there are no upscale restaurants or fast food joints. This is the diner. And here are some of the houses. And really, these houses, we can tell by the design that they were built at the earliest in the 1900s. So they're definitely older homes. And this is what we'd expect to see in pre-gentrified towns. Here is the Johnson family store. As you can see, it was established in 1983. And these kinds of local family, grocery stores were common and were seen in pre-gentrified towns. All of these houses and restaurants are pretty accurate representations of what so many towns in the US look like before gentrification. And we definitely see this in Washington, D.C. and New York City.
So the next part of our tour is the gentrified town. As you can see, starting off, there are fully new roads with black concrete and sidewalks and more modern lampposts compared to what the pre-gentrified town had. The first stop on our tour is a Starbucks. We'll show the inside of the Starbucks. And as you can see, it's equipped with a lot of brewing stands, which represent coffee makers. And Starbucks is a large corporation. So this is bringing in the wealthier populations because it can support that kind of business and those kind of clients. The next part of our tour, again, a drive-through and another accommodation for cars, is parking spots for them because it is bigger and supports wealthier populations who can own cars. So if you remember, in the pre-gentrified town, there was a mom and pop restaurant, and sadly that has now been replaced by a large corporation, Chick-fil-A. Corporations such as Starbucks and Chick-fil-A, and what we'll later see as Walmart, are big staples of gentrification because they create something called placelessness, which is a very big aspect. So the next build that we're going to show off is a mansion. This house is now more expensive than the pre-gentrified houses because of the materials like quartz, which up the pricing. This new fully remodeled kitchen and dining room, which this lovely couple is enjoying right now. And on the side of this house, you can see a pool, which again, by gentrifying these towns, you draw in wealthier populations, and that's why you need larger corporations, but also why you need bigger and fancier, more modern houses, including things such as a fancy pool. So this is another modern house. I'll just quickly run through it. It's essentially the same thing because, again, placelessness creates the same houses over and over, these carbon copies of these modern houses. And then next we will walk over to something a little more interesting. So you may be familiar with a picture that is quite famous of a more rundown house in the middle of two modern mansions. This is what we're trying to represent here. This is the same as one of the houses that are in the pre-gentrified town, is just a little more rundown now. This represents someone for the pre-gentrified town that refused to sell their land, and now their house is still here in the post-gentrified town. It's a little rundown, but it's still small and still holds strong. And that's a very impactful picture, so we wanted to include it to represent the change that it creates for the community. Next we have this mansion. And the final stop on our tour is, again, another staple of gentrification, which is Walmart. And another impactful thing is this protest that's happening outside. They have some signs such as gentrification is genocide, whose city, our city, and it's not revitalization, it's gentrification. So this is based off of an actual protest, and these are actual protest signs, and it's to show the displacement that actually occurs because of gentrification and how it can improve the city and better it for some people, but it can really ruin things for other populations.